Welcome to Yoga with Kaila. Let's relax and move our body with our breath. If you are loving these videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Hello and welcome to Yoga for Hip Health. So today we're going to work on releasing the muscles around our hips and helping our body move a little better. So today, let's start on all fours. We're going to start with our knees stacked underneath our hips, our hands stacked underneath our shoulders. We're just going to begin with some breathing circles. So we're just going to circle through the wrists. Now, if this is too much on your wrists, you could stack fists and do fists for wrists. That's always acceptable. But using that breath and just beginning to connect with our bodies. Inhale as we go forward, exhale as you sink back. And if it feels good, you could also choose to make those circles a little bigger. I'm just going to start in one direction. Just getting some movement through our hips, our shoulders, beginning to awaken through that spine. Let's stop and go the other direction. So using that breath to guide you here, working through that motion. Let's do a couple more. And then let's find that neutral spine. So spine is nice and long. We're going to take a nice deep inhale, arching our back slightly. We're going to drop our belly down, pulling that belly button up away from the mat, lifting into our cow here. As we exhale, we round that belly button back into the spine, pressing through all our fingers. Inhale. And then we exhale. So just using your own breath here to guide you in and out of your flowing cat-cow. You've got this. Moving with your own breath, connecting with yourself here. Really beginning to awaken that spine, awakening through those hips. Let's do one more. And let's press it back, finding our child's pose. Reaching those arms nice and long forward, we drop our forehead down towards our mat. Taking those knees as wide as you'd like that are comfortable here. Now I want you to extend those arms nice long forward. Reach, reach, reach. And you should get a nice little stretch through the side body here, right? Through that upper back area. Now, if child's pose isn't available to you to get your forehead on the ground, you could use a mat or a block to stack that forehead. So we do want to try and ground through that forehead. You could also ground through your fists. So your choice here on how we're grounding down. Now, if your hands are stacked underneath that forehead, let's extend them out nice and long. We're going to walk our hands over to the right. Take that left hand, place it on top of the right hand. Sink those sit bones down and back. You should feel a nice stretch all through that left side body. Wrong side, Kaila. So stretching through that left side body. Using your breath, allowing it to help you relax. With every exhale, noticing that your left sit bone sinks a little bit more back, a little further, a little deeper. Finding a little bit more space on that left side. Let's walk those hands back front, back into that extended child's. And let's walk them over this time to the left, taking that right hand on top, sink the sit bones down and back, drop that forehead down towards our mat. Does not have to reach our mat. And this time we're opening through that right side body. With every exhale, we notice that right hip bone sinks a little further back and down. And walk our hands back around forward. Extended child's inhaling forward, coming back onto all fours. Let's take our left leg, we'll step it on through, finding a kneeling lunge here. So body's up nice and tall in our kneeling lunge. We're just going to begin to bring some awareness to that hip flexor, right? That right hip flexor. So just beginning to bring some awareness and sensation within that right hip flexor. So noticing if you're up here and you're proposing, right? We're not proposing. We're coming down and forward, finding that nice extension through that hip flexor. So when we work on hip health, we really want to stretch all of the muscles around that hip joint. So let's bring our hands to the inside of that left leg, finding our lizard pose here. Now, if it's available to you today, you could choose to come down onto your elbows. Again, completely up to you. Noticing that stretch on the inner thigh of that left leg and on that hip flexor on the right leg. I'm just going to hold and breathe. Let's take our right hand, place it beside our left foot. Our left hand comes to our right sit bone. And we're going to twist our chest towards that left knee. And then we bring that arm up. Welcome to your twisting, kneeling lunge. Bringing that right hand back to that right sit bone, that chest back down towards the mat, placing that left hand back onto the mat. Let's step that left leg back, press it back into your child's pose. Let it go. Good. Let's inhale forward, back onto all fours. Let's take that right leg this time. Step that right leg through. Coming up nice and tall in our kneeling lunge on that right side. Let's bring our hands to the inside of that right foot. So we got that sensation through that left hip flexor there. We're just beginning to bend those elbows if it feels good to you. Coming down onto all fours. Finding that lizard posture. Getting that nice, beautiful stretch through the inside of our right hip and through the hip flexor on that left side. Okay, let's take our left hand, bring it beside your right foot. Our right hand comes to our right sit bone. We're going to twist belly, ribs, chest towards that right knee. Once we're twisted towards that knee, placing the weight in our left hand, we reach our right arm up towards the sky, getting a nice, beautiful twist here. Happy smiling faces as we're twisting. Breathing, bring that right hand back down to that right sit bone. Unravel that chest back down towards the mat. Bring that right hand back down and forward. Let's press it back into our child's pose once again. Wonderful. Okay, let's come back up onto all fours. This time we're going to take our left leg. We're going to extend it on through, bringing that left leg nice and long. So if you have blocks, you could use blocks to help you balance on either side. We're going to stretch through our hamstring here. We're going to use a sinking breath. So if you have blocks and you want to use blocks, you can do that. If you don't have blocks, you could use your hands on your upper thigh, on your shin, never on the knee joint, or on either side of that leg. We want to bring that chest down and forward, so feeling that stretch all through that hamstring. So to do a sinking breath, we're going to walk our hands back up. Inhale. Exhale. Coming down and forward. Let's do two more like that. Inhale. Exhale. One more, just like that. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. Now, if you're feeling a lot of pressure on that right knee, you could roll your mat over a couple times just to give a little bit more of a cushion underneath the knee. Completely up to you. Now, you should be feeling this stretch all through that hamstring region. Now, if you'd like a little bit stretch through your tibialis anterior or through the muscle along the shin bone here, all you have to do is point those toes down. And you should notice a nice stretch all through your ankle joint here and all up the front side of that shin. It's amazing just pointing those toes, the stretch that you get through the ankle. Good, and let's bend that knee, hinge forward into that lunge and step it on back. Let's switch sides. Take that right leg forward. We're going to extend that leg out nice and long, flexing that foot. Again, if you need that support, bringing those yoga blocks into play. Let's start with that sinking breath. So inhale, coming up nice and tall. Exhale, relax down and forward. Inhale up nice and tall. Exhale, down and forward. One more. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. Find that place of comfort. We're just finding that edge, right? We never push past a point that feels comfortable. Our muscles have this elasticity response. So if you stretch past a point of stretching, what it actually causes is it causes them to tighten. And then they don't relax. And then you're actually getting them working and you're not getting the benefit of the yoga practice that you're looking for. So making sure that you're just going to that point where you feel the stretch, feels like a good stretch, and I just take it to that point. If you notice that as the muscle relaxes that you can sink a little deeper, then use that to your advantage. That means your body's relaxing a little bit more, right? Now again, if we want that stretch to that ankle joint on that right side and that tibialis anterior, let's go ahead and point those toes down towards our mat. Noticing if you feel that sensation anywhere else. Like I know for me, it almost draws that stretch a little deeper in through the inner thigh and that hamstring there. Breathing, not forgetting our breath here, staying present on our mat. Noticing that self-talk, noticing if those shoulders are creeping up towards our ears. Where are our tension patterns in our body? Where are we holding on to that space? Let's inhale, coming forward into that kneeling lunge. Exhale, press it back, step it back. Child's pose. So this is one of those places that if you had a partner doing yoga with you, go ahead, pause the video and get them to come and just press down onto your upper hips towards your feet just a little bit. Feels so lovely. Nice stretch through that back region. And if you don't, and if you're doing this solo like I am, then we just reach our arms a little bit more forward and we work on that stretch through that side body, right? Okay, let's inhale, coming forward. Let's sit our hip bones off to one side, swinging those legs around nice and long. Okay, so we've been working on stretching through our hamstrings. So let's continue with that. So we have something called fascia, and fascia is like the webbing on a grapefruit or an orange, right? And what it does is it goes around and in and out through our muscles and tendons and ligaments, and it helps your body move. And sometimes that fascia becomes rigid, or it gets a little tight, or it's not hydrated enough, and it stops us from moving in the way that we need to move. That's why massage therapy is so helpful. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways to understand fascia. So we're going to start with taking a nice deep inhale, arms coming up high towards the sky. Exhale, come down and forward. And I want you to take note of where your hands fall. So where did your hands fall? Where are you feeling any tightness in your body? So make sure you've noted it. Okay, so now to figure out the fascia, we're going to take our hand. This is going to get weird. I need you to trust me, okay? Take your hand. We're going to massage out the center of that forehead. I know. Yeah, you can massage your forehead to your hairline. Now you're saying, Kayla, this video is getting weird. I promise you I'm going to help you release your fascia and help you to stretch a little bit further here in your seated forward fold. Okay. We're gonna do this a couple times, so not to worry. So forehead to hairline. If you wanna go longer, go ahead and pause the video. If not, let's continue here. Inhale, arms up nice and high. Exhale, down and forward. Did you go any further? Doesn't have to be a crazy amount further. Did you go a little bit further? Do you feel this a little differently? Noticing how bent your knees are, right? Okay, come back up. Now this time, same hand, you're going to massage the top of your head. Now I know for myself, there's a point right underneath my ponytail that I don't know I have a headache until I touch it. So finding that little tender spot on the top of your head, and I want you to give that sucker a little massage out. That is that tension point. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to clench my teeth, especially when I am stressed out. So helping yourself release that little bit of tension on that upper head. And you can go ahead and massage all the way down the back of your skull, all the way to the top of your neck, where your neck and your skull meet. Let's inhale up nice and tall. Exhale down and forward. Did you get any further? Are you noticing that the stretch is moving somewhere? Are you noticing that you're maybe not as tight in that low back, or you're noticing that, oh wow, my hamstrings feel really, really tight? Okay, let's do this one more time. So we're gonna give ourselves a little tiny foot massage. So this fascial line comes from the tip of our forehead, wraps all the way around the back of our head, down our back, down our legs, all the way out to the tips of our toes. So all I want you to do is to massage out the tips of your toes. Sometimes I like to take my nails and just kind of dig them into the tips of my toes, but that's all that I want you to do, just the tips of your toes. A little self-care, a little self-massage here. Just taking a little bit of time here, giving your toes just a little rub. Okay, I hope you guys are still with me here, and I hope you're following along. I promise this is going to help release that fascial line, that tension pattern through the back side of our body. Okay, let's take those legs out nice and long. Inhale, up nice and tall. Exhale, down and forward. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I don't know if you guys saw where I started, but I started with my hands coming to my ankles. And now you can see my fingertips are past my heels. So hopefully you guys are getting the same result. So we're gonna sit here in our seated forward fold. We're gonna drop that forehead down towards our knees, and let's just hang out for a moment. Taking some breaths, breathing into any of those tight areas in your body. We're not pulling or forcing a stretch. We're just relaxing into it. And let's walk those hands back in. Okay. Let's take that right foot, cross it over that left foot. That left leg is going to cross around behind. Now, if you have an issue with your hips mobility to get into this position, you could leave that left leg out nice and long. You could also elevate your hips up onto a yoga block or a bolster just to create a little bit more space in through those hips. Okay, so from here we're going to take our left arm, crisscross it over that right knee. That right hand is going to come around behind you, and we're going to twist. So coming into this beautiful spinal twist here. Breathing. Looking around behind us. Should feel a nice stretch in through that right hip joint there. We'll take it into those hip rotators in a second. Taking another couple breaths. And let's unwind that face, coming back to center, unwinding our spine. Okay, Turkish twist. So we just did a seated twist. Now we're gonna come into Turkish twist. Turkish twist is very easy to get into if we're already in this position. All you're gonna do is drop that knee down, wiggle that foot out. Now again, if you're working on hip mobility and your posture doesn't look like mine, it doesn't have to look like mine. It looks like yours, okay? This is uniquely your posture and your practice. So if your leg is out here like this, perfect, love it. Keep with where you're at today in your body. all you're going to do is take an inhale and exhale down and forward. So you could also have your hips elevated here, right? We can have that left leg still out nice and long and just crisscross over, kind of like a supine or a supine pigeon, right? We're just coming into that position. Your choice here, Turkish twist. We're gonna lean down and forward, and you should feel the stretch through your hip rotators on the back side of that right leg. Taking some breaths. If it feels good to you, you can drop that forehead down towards that knee. Again, working on that fascial line that runs down the backside of the neck. Right? We talked about it coming down that backside of the body. And slowly coming back in. Okay, let's switch sides. This time, right leg goes out, left leg is going to crisscross over. Option to leave the right leg out or tuck it on in. Take that left arm up high towards the sky, tuck that elbow towards on the outside of our right knee. Take that left hand, or outside on the left knee, take that left hand around behind us, and we're going to look at the wall behind us, twisting that spine, seated spinal twist. Again, you should feel a stretch through that left hip here, looking around behind you, breathing, lengthening through the spine, lifting up nice and tall. Exhaling, twisting around behind you, using that breath to guide you here. And let's unravel that neck back forward and then slowly unraveling that spine. Still option to have those hips elevated. We're going into that Turkish twist now on the other side. And you will notice that one side's slightly tighter than another, right? Both my knees don't completely line up because my left hip is way tighter. That's okay. I'm meeting myself with where I'm at today. And I hope that you're meeting yourself with where you're at today. Listen to your body. The idea here is we just want to feel the stretch. So we're looking for that stretch through those hip rotators on that left side. So all you have to do is lean slightly forward. Doesn't matter what position you're in, you should feel a nice, wonderful, beautiful stretch here in through those hip rotators. Option, tuck that forehead down towards your knee. Breathing. Good, slowly walking back up and in, unraveling those legs. Let's grab onto the back of one knee and roll down into our mats. Okay, knees to chest. Rock it out side to side. Let's come into our wind removing posture, taking that left leg out nice and long. Right leg comes out around that rib cage in towards that right shoulder. So pulling that right leg in towards the shoulder, flexing your left foot, keeping that calf and heel down onto our mat. We're dropping those shoulders down into the spine. Nice long neutral spine. Compression of the hip joint, compression of that hip socket. We're going to send some rich oxygenated blood in flowing through that hip joint, right? Washing all the garbage away that we hold within that hip space. Taking some breaths here. And let's exhale that right leg out nice and long. Whew, feel that nice flowing, rich oxygenated blood going through that leg, bringing that left knee in towards our left shoulder. We're crisscrossing around our hands, around through to that shoulder, flexing that right foot, pulling those toes away from the wall in towards our face, right? We're keeping that calf and heel down on our mat, flexing, pulling that left knee in towards our shoulder, around that rib cage. Relaxing two shoulders down onto your mat. Breathing. Good. Exhale that left leg out nice and long. Feeling that rich oxygenated blood flow through that left hip socket. Let's bend that right foot. Let's place some pressure on the right foot, lifting our hips up and over to the left. Our right knee comes across our body. We grab it with that left hand. Our right hand comes out to the side and we look off to that right hand side. We come into our supine spinal twist. So you should feel a nice, beautiful stretch in through the hips, in through that low back. Getting that great twisting spine movement. This is one of my favorite stretches because you can also play around with where your knee is located. So if you bring your knee up closer towards that shoulder, you're going to feel it a little bit differently in through that glute. So you find your own tension within your body and find that own space. Just allow that leg to hang, or maybe you choose to allow it to relax on to that your left leg. Completely up to you on how you like the stretch. And let's come back through center. Send that right leg out, left leg bends, pressing weight into that left foot. We're lifting our hips up and over to the right. Left arm goes out. We grab onto that knee with our right hand and our head goes off to the left. Again, finding that supine spinal twist on the other side. Find that breath. Maybe you're practicing that sinking breath, that breath that allows you to inhale, relax a little deeper as we exhale into the posture. Right? We practice that with our hamstrings. You can do that in really any posture. Your yoga practice, your breathing, your connection to self, to the connection to universe, and connection to your body, right? Staying present here on your mat, so important. Taking this time to practice some self-care for you. We do so much for other people, so sometimes it's just so important to do something for ourselves. Good. Exhale, coming back through center. Let's bend both feet here and just lifting up into that bridge pose here. Hips nice and lifted tall. So if you want to open a little bit more through that chest and find some chest expansion, you roll your shoulders under, clasping down through your hands planted onto the mat, lifting your hips a little higher. You could also choose to come into some goalpost arms here. Just allow gravity to do the work. Your practice, your posture. Let's slowly, slowly roll down, one vertebrae at a time, bringing those knees in towards your chest, giving yourself that nice, beautiful hugs, crunching in nice and round, rocking side to side. Let's go rocking forward and back. Let's roll all the way up, coming back into that seated position. Let's take those legs out nice and long. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale down and forward. Now, this time we're bending our knees nice and deep, grabbing onto our feet. So bend your knees as much as you need to grab onto those feet, tucking that forehead down towards your knees. And I want you to point your toes. So you don't have to do a whole heck of a lot other than grab your hands onto your feet, point your toes, and you should feel this stretch in through that low back, that mid back area. Find that breath. Wonderful. Let it go. Let's swing those legs back underneath us. Find our hero pose. Sitting up nice and tall. Let's let it all go. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, let it go. Let's do it again. Inhale up. Exhale, let it go. Last one. Taking a moment, connecting back to yourself. Practicing some gratitude. Gratitude for yourself, gratitude for your practice, gratitude for our bodies. Maybe gratitude for something in your life, a person in your life, or an event, or something that's taken place. Or maybe it's something that you saw, right? Sometimes just it's the simple things in life, seeing a baby bird, that can be something to be so grateful for. I got to see ducks bathing in the river the other day. That just made my morning. So finding something to be grateful for. Allowing that gratitude to just fill your body, fill your being. Bring your hands to heart center. Taking that gratitude energy, inhaling it up nice and tall. Exhaling it down through our body. The light in me bows and honors the light in you. Thank you so much for sharing this practice here today. Namaste.